John was depressed and weak, seeing himself in the prison all alone. God, please forgive me. God, please help me. If possible, I have an opportunity to go back to my past. I will take all the time I have to correct all the mistakes I made. Oh, my God, had I known. These are the words that always comes out of John's mouth every day of his life. John grew up from a rich family. His father was a well-known person in the society. His mother was a woman which everyone in her environment loved to be with. They have only one child, which is John. The two parents are already getting old before they gave birth to John. John was well trained and pampered at the same time. For this he lived his life in a very lovely place, because he never lacked anything good. His parents raised him well, they are not too friendly. And at the same time they are not too hard on him. His mother always makes sure she took her along whenever she is going to church. They send John to one of the best schools because all they have is John. And they always try their best as parents. John was a good boy to his parents and every other person around him. After some years, John finished his primary school, and his parents was happy because he really did well during his primary school time. Even to the extent that the school awarded him an overall best student. Immediately John got to the secondary school, his performance started reducing academically. His mother noticed that, but she felt it might be because of the new level, so he would need to take his time to get used to the new system. When John got to the senior class, he had many friends and played a lot, which now drove his attention from reading. The only time John reads was whenever his mother forced him to read. With time, John finished his secondary school. But it was a pity that he didn't pass his final exams. His father was so disappointed in him, because they never expected such results from him. The parents agreed to use their influence and position to make sure John enter into university. If it is about money, they have it. They even knew people in different universities, it is only left for them to take a step by putting a call through. They did as they have concluded, and one of the private schools offered John an admission. John was overexcited to see his admission letter, because he cannot wait to go to school and gain his freedom from his parents' control. Before John started his preparation for school, his parents called him and let him know that this admission he got is a privilege. They encouraged him that, "We know you're a good boy and also you're very intelligent, so please face your studies and make us proud." John prostrated and thanked his both parents for all they did for him, and he promised to face his studies and come out with a flying color. The parents both prayed for him. Few weeks after, when it was time for John to go, his mother made sure she provided everything her son needed in school. But John only wanted money for latest designer clothes and shoes. He said he wants everybody in the campus to know him as a special person. His mother never had an idea of what John was actually saying. And she gave him money because she would also not allow his son dressed or looked unkempt. When John got to the school, after the first year at school, he started feeling like they are really stressing him. One day he called himself and said, "What am I even stressing myself for? What else am I looking for that God has not given me? I'm the only son of my parents, and I believe that they have been working so hard for me. All my parents' property are surely mine. So I have no reason for disturbing myself." So John decided not to stress himself by going for lectures. He was just at the hostel sleeping and eating when he's supposed to be in the lecture room. He now turned his parents to money-making machine. He calls them for money almost every day. This is how John has been doing for a long period of time. And he felt very comfortable with it. One day he was sleeping, he heard a knock on his door. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see 4 guys. They smiled at him and asked if they can enter. John, looking surprised, answered them yes, and the guys entered. The guys sat down and explained the purpose of their coming. They started by saying, "We are here for good. John, we want you to be our friend and we want to be your friend." John, still looking surprised, began to ask questions. "Friends as how? Can you please explain?" One of the guys said to him that they are living in this environment and they are also a student as well. It's been long we have been seeing you around, so we decided to make friends with you. So John now agreed to be them and they all became friends. Since John has been friends with these guys, the way he demanded for money from his parents increased. His excuses was that school materials have increased in number as his level increases. Meanwhile, what John was using this money for is to go out with his friends. They go to club to drink, smoke and dance with girls. Until one day, John's friends told him that they needed to get a car for going out to club at night. Because they decided to change their level as big boys they are. All of them agreed to that. Since then John was looking for a way to get the money from his parents. Not quite long, one of them brought an idea and said, "The only way we can get the money is to lie that John has been kidnapped and ask his parents to pay a ransom." All of them here happy for this idea. They took a step and called John's father with a strange number. One of them spoke with John's father on phone with a thick voice. Immediately when this man heard the voice he became worried. The next thing he heard was, "Your son John is in our custody and you have 24 hours to pay a sum of 100 million naira. He said I will advise you to call the police, if you want to see your son dead." Before John's father could ask them any further questions they hung up the call. The father tried to call them back but all to no avail. John's father screamed so loud, "My only son God, why?" His noise called his wife's attention. She started crying when John's father explained what happened to her. "Oh, our only son, or what shall we do? Who shall we call? Who will save my son?" All these are what John's mother was asking herself without any reply. The mind of her husband too was troubled and he started checking. After putting themselves together, they came to conclusion that they don't have any option than to pay the ransom to save their son. And the only way to get the money was by selling all his property. John's father sold his property and the money is not completed. Their only hope is to get a loan from the bank and use their house as collateral. He did, and the money was completed. He paid the money and they released his son to him. The parents was very happy seeing their son alive. Then John went back to school and began to celebrate with his friends. They bought a good car and started enjoying their lives. Since John duped his parents to buy a car, he does not have time to call his parents to check on them anymore. Even when they call, he won't pick, because he never had time or maybe they call at the wrong time. John uses his night to party and get drunk, then sleep during the day. So most times his parents always call when he is sleeping. On this fateful day, police came to arrest John and his friends for a stolen car. Immediately John's friends denied him that they don't know anything about car. They pointed to John that he's the owner of the car. Before John could realize what's going on, the policemen got him arrested. Then police requested for the car's document if truly it belongs to him as he claimed. It was then John realized the document was fake. The policemen then follow him to where he bought the car. On getting there, they discovered that there was nobody selling car there. Now John realized he was scammed. He tried to call his friends to explain what happened to them but none of them were reachable. The police escorted him to where he knows they can be, but they were nowhere to be found. John realized his so-called friends and car dealer are scammers. John was locked up and was left alone. The friend he thought he had were his greatest enemy. He now knew that the only people who can save him was his parents. So he took permission to call his mom, but the news John heard from his mom was a sad one. His father had passed on. She said they tried to call him but he never picked his call. That was when his mother explained how they got the money they paid when he was kidnapped. Not up to 2 weeks when his father fell sick, and that was what led to his death. His mother said again since his father left, she became lonely have anybody to talk to. The absence of her son gave her sleepless nights as well. Her depression and overthinking had led her to an untimely stroke. She said bank came yesterday to give her 3 months ultimatum to pay the money her husband borrowed or she should pack out. John shouted and cried bitterly. He said, "What have I done?" John regretted his actions, and lives all his life in hard, I know. Dear viewers, it is good to have a good character and keep to it, without allowing any distraction. Mind you, distraction can come from friends, siblings, or even sometimes parents. But it is good to stay focused to achieve goals. Please like and subscribe for more.